80 years ago, history turned a corner in France. In the shadow of World War II, as a battered Europe clung to the hope of rebirth, French women cast their ballots for the very first time. It was a long-awaited victory, earned through generations of resistance, protest, and sacrifice. Among those trailblazers was Marcelle Abadi. Today, at 105 years old, she still remembers that day in April 1945 like it was yesterday. From her apartment in Pantin, in the northeastern suburbs of Paris, she looks back not only on a political moment, but on a personal awakening.
For the first time, I existed. Until then, I was nothing. And then, for the first time, I was asked my opinion, and therefore I existed. It had a lasting impact on me. I still think about it. When people talk to me about voting, I always remember my first vote.
It was a heavy poll, they say a record, the triumph of faith over experience. The French voter hasn't the simple choice between A and B. He and she are confronted by a multitude of partisan combinations.
I had made the decision to no longer let myself be told what to do. After that, when my husband told me what to do, I would say, "I'm not your daughter, you're not my father." The first time he didn't take it well, but he understood that I was determined not to let him push me around. I was working, so I had the right to speak. I was afraid men would make fun of women. Men looked at us as if we were weird because we came to vote. And actually, there were many men who didn't allow their wives to come and vote. And that was unacceptable.
The journey to that moment, however, was neither easy nor fast. French suffragists had been demanding change for over 150 years. In 1936, women chained themselves together in the streets, carrying placards that read, "The French woman must vote." Police removed them, but their voices couldn't be silenced forever. It wasn't until April 1944 that the French provisional government in exile, led by General Charles de Gaulle, formally granted women the right to vote. And it would take another full year before that right was finally exercised at the polls. April 29, 1945, municipal elections across a newly liberated France. Women lined up beside men to vote, many for the first time in their lives. More than 9 million women participated. Her fear was not unfounded. In France, as in much of the world, patriarchy wasn't just cultural, it was institutional. Historian Anne-Sarah Bougel-Molik says change became unavoidable as society itself shifted.
Le fait que les femmes obtiennent le droit de vote en 1944.
The fact that women won the right to vote in 1944 was related to the evolution of the role of women in society, and in some senses by that stage it had become impossible not to give them the right to vote. Prior to that it was held up by a sort of institutional fear that the Republic would collapse. And we can see through examples of all the other countries who accorded the right to vote, each time it was a convergence of the readiness of society, opinions having shifted, and a political tipping point.
Bougel-Molik points to that convergence, of activism, social readiness, and political necessity, as the tipping point in 1944. She notes that similar patterns emerged in other countries too. Change arrived when pressure from below met fractures from above.
It was while General de Gaulle was in the Hotel de Ville and the Cathedral of Notre.
Women voted in 1945, and they voted in massive numbers. That's the first thing to note. But at the same time, voting in big numbers didn't change much in their daily lives. They had to wait a long time before they started to see changes, a departure from an extremely traditional, bourgeois society where ideally women didn't work so they could look after the children. That's something that lasts a long time.
Before I had the right to vote, I wasn't interested in politics like I am now. Politics used to be for men. Now it's the same for men and women. We experience the same things. We have the same rights.
From protests in 1936 to quiet ballots in 1945, from silence to speech, from erasure to existence, French women have walked a long path.